In today's episode, I will go deeper into the magician energy and how you can shift things for yourself from self-sabotage to creating magic in your life, in your business, and at the same time being there for others and acting responsibly. Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy. In the last episode, I spoke about the fear of being irresponsible with the decisions you take. And I came up with that topic after several people reaching out to me and sharing with me their fears of investing in themselves, either financially or time-wise. And I used the last episode to speak about this fear of irresponsibility and the attached issue of the inner saboteur. Because the fear of being irresponsible is tied or is one of the biggest self-sabotage mechanisms out there. So I went deeper into that issue and really make sure to listen to that episode as well to find out if you also have a hefty inner saboteur in action. And then in this episode, I want to show you the counterpart of this saboteur energy, how you can actually overcome the saboteur and create magic in your life instead. We use this archetypal language, so the inner saboteur, the inner magician, you might ask yourself, like, what the heck is she talking about? We use this archetypical language to describe unconscious patterns of behavior and thoughts, unconscious energetic patterning in someone. And there are many different archetypical energies which could work as a pattern in your life. And the saboteur and the magician, as I just said, being 2 of them. And they can either come from a place of power and empowerment, or from a place of survival and shadow. In this scenario that I'm painting here in the podcast episodes, the saboteur comes from a place of survival, of utter survival, wanting to keep you safe, wanting to not let yourself harm yourself, basically. And the magician comes from power and empowerment, not from fear anymore, but from possibility. And in the last episode, I was speaking about the saboteur who says it is irresponsible. That's one of the biggest sentences of the saboteur. This fear of being irresponsible. Like, I can't do that. That's not good. I'm irresponsible. And the saboteur is consumed with reason, with the rational, with the logical, and shuts off access to your intuition because your intuition is unreasonable. Your intuition is not rational. I want you to understand that doing the responsible often comes from a place of fear and not empowerment. And this needs to change. Responsibility is very often like really an empty shell word. People think it is good and actually it is just fake and empty. And it hides the fact that you are scared and thinking of the other less than you could or should. So we think being responsible actually is a good thing. Like, I take care of others. I do the responsible thing. I'm a good and valued member of society or something. And actually, if responsibility comes from a place of fear, it is the opposite. You come from a weak place. You come from a fearful place. And you're doing the opposite of being responsible. And I have the example of one of my clients, and she was extremely fearful of being irresponsible to her kids. And she did a lot of inner work, self-love, compassion towards herself, and also a lot of work on the father and mother wound to now come from a place of inner power when she connects with her kids and not disempowerment and fear. And now she can honor when her emotions go crazy and accept herself fully. So it's not this feeling anymore of, my goodness, I need to be the good mother. I need to do everything right. I need to be responsible. I need to take care that my kids don't die. Like, yeah, of course you have responsibility. However, you can't guarantee anything. So coming from a place of fear, it basically means I'm keeping my kids at home. I'm not letting them experience anything in order to keep them safe, while basically doing the responsible thing is letting them out into the world, experiencing themselves and making their own lessons. This is life. You can't keep someone safe forever. And now she knows that she does not need to be perfect, nor that she will ever be perfect. She's a human being, and now she understands that. And transforming herself and getting rid of all those past limiting stories and beliefs is the biggest gift she can give to her kids. Now she comes from a truly empowered place and can act truly responsible. And this also meant that she invested a 5-figure sum in herself and took a lot of time to heal herself and become basically a true role model to her kids. Because now she takes care of herself. She takes time out. She takes care of her energy. She fills up her energetic reservoir, so to say. She got rid of depletion and rid of fear and anxiety. And in that way, she can truly be there for her kids. This is true empowered responsibility. No more fear of doing something wrong. Because the fear of doing something wrong and the fear of being irresponsible, in the end, is disempowered responsibility. And with that, I am not saying that you should do the irresponsible now instead of the responsible. Of course, you take care of others. Of course, you take care of your kids. Of course, you take care of your elderly parents or friends who can't take care of themselves anymore, or a partner, whatever. The intention is different. When you fear to be irresponsible, you already come from a fearful place, from a disempowered place. Once you are strong in yourself, once you have worked through your stuff, you come from an empowered place. And then acting responsible will look very different to what you think responsibility right now is. So let's see what the magician energy is, where you are already living it and how to access it. And again, I draw from the teachings of Lorna Johnson and Alba Barrett. Just to say that and make clear that I didn't come up with all of that. The magician in you is where you want your power to be based, because it is the energy of manifestation and creation. It is the energy of creating something from nothing. It is the energy and power that you have within you to actually create what you're dreaming about now. It is the power to bring dreams forth into existence, into reality. And your magician is the energy of play and creativity. The magician works on intuition, gut and hunches. Your intuition is your absolute magic, and it is the blood of your life and your business. And the magician does not care about making sense. You know, if you see a magician, like a real magician in real life, doing magic, it is the absolute, utter opposite of making sense. When you look at what those people do, you think like, this does not make sense. How does this work? Yes, this is magic at play. The magician does not care about making sense. And the magician takes the energy of the intuition and gives you permission to act on that intuition. Einstein is attributed with the following quote: "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." Really, your intuition, like now it's back, Lydia's speech, your intuition accesses a realm beyond reason. And this is what you'll need to make your biggest daring dreams a reality. Reason and logic are your helper. And your intuition is what carries you beyond. By the way, when you're moving from a more mind-based approach to trusting your intuition, basically trusting yourself, your inner power, you can expect some wobbles. All my clients go through it as I do again and again. Your saboteur, your shadow, your old way of being, they all will kick in over and over again. So that's a normal thing to do. That's usually the first thing that happens. It's not that you're now listening to that and think like, now I'm inviting the magician energy into my life and I come from that place easily and happily ever after. No. It means that you are shifting into a different reality, into a different way of being. And that means that your old way of being is in survival mode. It does not want to die. So it will come up even stronger. And reasoning, the rational mind, all of that will kick in even stronger. I have 3 clients who are going through that at the moment. It's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trusting themselves, going one step back, trusting themselves even more, going one step back. And that is normal. Like, don't beat yourself up over that. I have been there. And once, like every time I have big decisions happening, I have my old saboteur energy kicking in again, telling me that's unreasonable. You shouldn't do that. That's not safe. You don't know what's going to happen and so on. So that is normal. And the path your intuition is going to guide you along isn't going to look or feel very sensible. That's the thing. If you're used to reason, like I am, and I mentioned that, my highly intelligent clients, they are like super something, all of them, when they now give up their mind as their first address to basically get new ideas from and act upon, this drives them crazy and mad. So it won't look very sensible. It really will feel, I'm doing the unreasonable. I'm doing the stupid thing. So you have to declare to yourself that you're willing to live outside and beyond of your reasoning mind. And it does not mean to give it up. It means to open yourself up to more. You will still include your mind. You won't give up. I'm not a person who says, you have to destroy your ego or something. No, you have to integrate it and go beyond. This is what we are doing. Okay, so if you come from a place of the magician instead of the saboteur energy, how would this look like? I have some scenarios which might happen, or which most surely will happen. The magician sees through illusion and chaos. The magician takes responsibility for what is, for everything that is, whatever circumstances are there at the moment. He takes responsibility. He knows that he created it. Like you, when you are in that place of accepting what is happening right now, you know that you created it. Then the magician can therefore create what is not. You accepting what you have created means you can go beyond and create what is not at the moment. The pure magic, basically. The magician is the master of what is and therefore of what will be. You really have to understand that. Once you step into that idea of, I create my circumstances, I create the way how I relate to my circumstances, that means I can create different circumstances, I can create my dreams, and I can create a different way of relating to what is or what is going to be. The magician is completely willing to appear foolish or do things that make absolutely no sense, because he knows this is what creates magic. The magician does not need proof, certainty, evidence, plans, maps, reason, or time in order to act. That is what the saboteur needs. And the magician does not need that anymore. Yes, you will be able to work with proof and plans and maps and reason and time. Yeah, you can work with them, but you don't need it anymore. That is the difference. And the magician understands the clues hidden in reality. Basically, the hidden meaning behind things. With the first thing, what I said, the magician sees through illusion and chaos. It is not illusion and chaos anymore, even though it is illusion and chaos. You can see through this. You can see the hidden meaning. What we say, you can basically see backwards. Like when you have lived your life or a part of your life, you can look back and in retrospective, you can see why things happen the way they happen. In this magician energy, you basically can see it while it's happening. You can look through, you can see through reality or illusion, whatever you want to call it. The magician has mastered the rules and laws and can break them to create magic. I love this so absolutely. I love this so much because, I'm a rebel at heart, and it does not mean to break rules per se or just for the sake of it. It means you master the rules first. You master them. And then you can break them in order to create magic. This is just plainly beautiful. The magician has learned how to energetically fly. I love that as well. He's not weighed down by the prevailing illusions and the circumstances, the prevailing illusions of consciousness and the circumstances and the beliefs about reality anymore. Whatever happens, you can fly. This is magic. And I know it sounds strange, but once you experience that, you know what I'm talking about. The magician is lighthearted. has a delightful sense of humor and does not take life too seriously. I have been there. I took everything so seriously. And all the people told me, oh, don't be so serious. And now I get it. Not because the people said that to me. Now I get the difference between, yes, I still see things seriously because I love to think and because I'm a deep thinker. I do deep coaching. I will always have a seriousness to me. However, at the same time, there can be a lot of lightheartedness, a lot of lightness to everything. And the magician knows that magic is in the both and instead of either or. Big one. Last but not least, the magician knows how to create time. The magician creates time. And the voices of the magician, or what he says, is, I know what I know. And I know that I know what I know. This is what will be. There is a lot of certainty in the magician energy. I am the master of time. Time comes from me. I am certain. This happens now. I don't care how silly and irresponsible that this looks or feels. I don't have to see how it will all work out because I know that it will. I'm creating that. And this is my message. This is what I have to say. And I know exactly what to say and when to say it. Yeah. And now I do have some more journaling questions for you because, okay, it's fun to listen to what I'm talking about. And for you to take this further really means to journal on that, to go deeper into that. How could this magician energy show up in your life instead of the saboteur energy? And really make sure to listen to the last episode as well. That's basically the first part, the very important first part. What you can ask yourself then is, how would the magician show up in your life differently to the saboteur energy? What would you change if you were to fully, immediately, and without question act on your intuition now? If you really were not concerned with appearing responsible and if you fully believed in your creative power, what leaps would you take? And check this in all life areas, in business, in your love life, in your sex life, body, money, friendships, family. Go through all areas and see how would the magician lead your life? How would you live your life coming from an empowered magician energy instead of a disempowered and survival energy of the saboteur? The next question would be or is, what would you change in your life if you fully, and I mean fully, trusted your intuition? And you didn't need things to make sense and feeling ready before taking action. What would you change in your life? What actions would you take? Next question, if you fully trusted yourself, because trusting yourself basically means trusting your intuition, what actions would you take that you have been avoiding? Big one. What have you been avoiding? And you know your intuition is constantly telling you, perhaps with a tiny feeble whisper in your ears, that this is what you would like, or what action you should take, or what the right thing is to do, basically. If you were unafraid of looking foolish to others or irresponsible, what would you change in your life? What would you say yes to? And what would you say no to? Super, super important, especially around this question of irresponsibility. If you didn't give a fuck anymore about being irresponsible, what would you be called to do, to be, and to not do anymore? And by the way, you're just writing that down. It does not mean that you directly have to do that. So there is no need to freak out. You are just expanding your mind right now. Last question. Knowing that you are shifting into acting intuitively instead of logically, what magic do you know will you manifest in your life with this shift? So what are the shifts which will happen when you follow your intuition instead of your logic alone? So those are powerful, powerful questions, and they will show you the way towards magic in your life. Answer them and then take at least one step of action towards them. Really, one step. You don't have to do everything. There might be a lot. When you journal this out, you might come up with a lot of things, especially if you have a very strong inner saboteur in action. Follow through on one thing, on one tiny thing. If you do that, you have massively achieved something already. And so this is the one thing, do the journaling questions and follow through on one thing. Those are 2 things you can already do. And another one, which, you don't really have to do anything for that. That's the good side. Now, whenever you shift into the saboteur energy, you know what you know now. So you cannot unlearn what you have learned and you cannot unhear what you have heard. So after listening to this podcast and after listening of the examples about the saboteur and the magician, whenever you fall back into the saboteur energy, you will have like a tiny Lydia sitting on your shoulder telling you, look what's happening. And then you can make a different choice. I think I mentioned that already. For example, I always had this time pressure. Whether I had time or not, it was always like, I don't have enough time. And I was working like 1 hour a day. And I had this feeling, I'm not doing enough. I don't have enough time. I'm freaking out. And when I had done those questions, when I had done even more work on those archetypes, on those shadow beliefs, every time that happened at the same time, like I was freaking out, like I don't have time. At the same time, I couldn't do anything about it. This inner voice showed up saying, okay, you can choose to be the magician. You are the creator of time. And just with that knowingness, the saboteur didn't have any power over me anymore. That didn't mean that I had massive amounts of time other people don't have. It shifted my belief and it shifted the energy behind it. Before that, the saboteur had like a huge grip on me. I just couldn't let it go. It was like I was bound by this idea of I don't have time. I went crazy. I could like basically run through my room with this feeling, I have so much time pressure. I don't have time. I couldn't think straight anymore. And with this shift of you are the creator of time, you are doing this to yourself because you choose the saboteur energy, it lost its grip. It didn't mean that I have more time directly after that, but this grip on my mind was gone. It was basically surrendering into, okay, you know that you can see differently, Lydia. And this shifted things and this helped me to then go back into creating what I wanted and dealing with time more sensibly, dealing with time more in the way I wanted instead of being at effect. It shifted me back into being at cause. The same with emotions. I know that I create them. It's not like I'm not at the mercy anymore of time, of other people, of all of that, because all of that is energy of the saboteur. With the magician energy, I know I'm the master of time. I can create whatever I want. I can be or choose whatever emotion I want. And the grip has loosened on my mind. And it has become such a strong anchor for me that I see through my illusionary beliefs in an instant. And that is the first step. Then follows change, obviously. And the more you act from an empowered energy, the more your life will change. The more your life will change. Or this other example of this energetically flying high. When you are in this magician energy, you don't care about your circumstances anymore. Because you can just create whatever you want. And this puts distance between you now and your circumstances. Whenever you basically glue yourself to them, you have this inner voice saying, you don't have to do that. It is your choice right now. And bringing distance between you and the issue, a very powerful coaching intervention. Or also this fear of appearing foolish or that things don't make sense. From an empowered magician energy, you don't need that anymore. You can create sense for the sake of it, just because you love to make sense of things. But you're not at mercy of it anymore. I have one client who is highly intelligent and needs to make sense of, actually not one, 2, who are very intelligent and they need to make sense of everything I say. And shifting into this magician energy, they still want to understand what I'm doing, what I'm saying, why I say what I say, and what happens to them if they do X, Y, Z. But they are not at the mercy of that anymore. They can still do things without having made sense and making sense afterwards, basically. They are detached from that, wanting to make sense. And that is a huge difference. You can still do whatever, but there is no need for it anymore in order to move forward. This was the episode on the magician energy, how to shift out of feeling irresponsible and actually taking action towards your dreams. Now you have some idea about the saboteur at work and the inner magician at work, and you really need to put this to use. It will create massive shifts in your life. Did you like this podcast episode? Then I would be super, super grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Super helpful. And please subscribe to the podcast and share it with people who you know can benefit from it. You can find all links to my social media profiles, my website, and contact form in the show notes. And whenever you're ready to take a next step, and that means you want to live a life of more on all levels, then send me a message with where you want to go and what is keeping you where you are, like what keeps you stuck at the moment. And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, much love to you, Lydia.